Joining us on the couch this morning is a professor at Algonquin College, an early childhood educator, Chris Wojcik. Great to have you on the show. And it's interesting when we're talking parenting tips and seeing so many different levels and so many different ways of exposing our children. And we're coming off of an era right now where we're looking at shows like, Toddlers and Tiaras, or this Honey Boo Boo, which I don't even want to say her name because it bothers me so much that there's a show even about this. And it really has an impact on our children and how we're viewing them as they're growing up.
Absolutely. The young children that are in this program range from the age of infancy all the way up to 6 or 7. It's the children in the in-between 2, 3, and 4 that aren't making these conscious decisions to go into these pageants. It's driven by parents and grandmas and aunts. And so they're just doing what the adults are telling them to do. Hours and hours of practice goes into these pageants. And my first question is, when do these children get to play? When do they have downtime to relax? Because majority of the learning that takes place in early childhood takes place through play. At Algonquin College in the ECE program, we teach our students about play-based curriculum, and children learn through play. This is their, if you could call it, their early learning, their early school, and they only learn through play. Children are not learning a lot through these types of competitions.
No, I mean, and this is almost like this stage presence and these stage moments, and yet you can see it also transferring into athletics or having children kind of, practicing earlier and earlier. Like there's more pressure at a very young age for so many of these kids.
Absolutely. And children don't understand the games. They don't understand the competition process. We have young soccer for young children, and that the children in the soccer teams, preschool, they're allowed to just go out and play and gradually understand the games with rules, that we call it. And so they're all over the field and they're just having fun, and it's a gradual process. These young children are being forced into competition. Their self-worth is coming from how they look, their pretty clothes, how many crowns, and this can have a great impact on their development later on.
What are we looking at then as parents now? I mean, hopefully, well, a lot of people are exposed to these kinds of shows. How do you then tailor it to what you want to be able to do and how you want to relate it to your own child?
I think we have to parents need to understand the developmental process that children are going through, and they can't tolerate this much pressure. Their cognitive development, their social development, all comes from parents and from their environment. And their environment has to be such that it allows them to explore, to play, to interact with other children, learn social skills. And that is not happening at this level, in my opinion. Yeah.
And in your opinion, it matters because that you're now teaching our future early childhood educators how it is that you want to be doing this. What are some long-term, how does this then affect them in decision making, in their, their schooling, and how they view things, their work ethic later on in life?
Well, in my opinion, again, children who haven't had an opportunity to learn how to problem solve through play, learn how to cooperate with others through play, are going to have difficulties later on. They're going to have perhaps problems with social skills, joining a group, conflict resolution, and so on. Yeah.
Are they almost overstimulated early, that there's almost a regression and it's kind of like pushed back later on?
If you think about the brain is constantly firing during these activities, and they have no time, in my opinion, to relax and to play and to be children. Now, these competitions apparently take place every weekend, so the children are involved in these constant push, get dressed, practicing. Some of those routines that the children are involved in are very, very complex, and it's hours and hours of practicing. 2, 3, 4-year-old children should be playing. They should be just exploring. Children are active learners.
See, I have an issue, if we're talking about taking a show like a Toddlers and Tiaras, you're looking at it like they're practicing, they're forced into these practicing routines and going over and walking and so forth. I look at it at how we're making our children look, and they're making, I mean, is that a completely
that's a whole other issue,
set of problems right there?
And there's been a lot of research done about the sexualization of young children. They're being made up to look like models, like adult models. Adult models are making this decision to be in pageants. These young children are not making a conscious decision to participate in these pageants. So.
Well, I think we're exposed to it. We're seeing it more. Unfortunately, it's becoming a popular series, and I don't know if people like, it's like watching a train wreck sometimes.
It
so
is.
hopefully, it's more of that than saying, I really want.
But it's
my kids
also
exposed to
the
this.
trend with reality TV. At whose expense? People are watching it, but at whose expense?
Great information, and of course there's a ton that's going on. I know you have a lot of students that are now involved in the early childhood education, but there are services and websites that are available as well in terms of you looking for your own information. Pleasure to meet you. Thank you so much.